Look at the new girl. The words sliced through the air like an arrow. Heads turned. Whispers spread like wildfire across the school courtyard. Elena had just walked through the gates of her new high school, clutching her books close to her chest. Her long black hair caught the sunlight as it swayed against her shoulders, and her quiet grace drew eyes without her even realizing it. She wasn't trying to impress anyone. She wasn't trying to stand out. In fact, she wanted the opposite, just to blend in. But Elena was the kind of girl who couldn't disappear into the background, no matter how much she tried. She carried herself with a kind of calm dignity that demanded attention. By the fountain, 3 boys watched her every step. Jake, tall with a smirk that always bordered on cruel, leaned against the stone edge. His sidekicks, Ryan, stocky, loud, and always laughing at the wrong times, and Cole, lean, sly, and sharp-tongued, were never far behind. Jake nudged Ryan with his elbow. "Check her out. New girl thinks she's better than us." Ryan chuckled. "Yeah, look at her walking like she owns the place." Cole tilted his head. "Bet she's shy. Quiet ones are the easiest." They laughed among themselves, the kind of laugh that meant trouble for anyone in their sight. The 3 of them weren't just bullies. They were a problem the entire school pretended didn't exist. Everyone knew their names, their tricks, their cruelty. Teachers gave warnings, but nothing stuck. They pushed kids into lockers, stole lunches, spread rumors, and no one dared to cross them. To Jake and his gang, Elena wasn't just another pretty face. She was a challenge. Something new. Something to conquer. But what they didn't know was this. Elena wasn't raised to be ordinary. Her father, Captain Marcus Rivera, was a decorated military officer. He had lived through war zones, commanded soldiers, and built a life based on discipline and resilience. From the time Elena could walk, he had taught her things most teenagers never even thought about. She knew how to control her breath under stress, how to observe without being noticed, how to fight, defend, and endure. He didn't raise her to be paranoid. He raised her to be prepared. "The world won't always be kind," he used to say, "but you can always be ready." Elena never bragged about her training. She never flaunted it. To her, it was simply a part of who she was. But to the bullies watching her with greedy eyes, she looked like easy prey. And that was their mistake. They thought she was just another new girl in school. They had no idea they had chosen the wrong target. It started small, like most things with bullies do. The bell rang, signaling the end of the day. The hallways flooded with students, slamming lockers and rushing to buses. Elena walked quietly to her own locker, her steps measured, her expression calm. She tucked a strand of hair behind her ear and reached for her books. That's when Jake stepped in front of her. "Hey, pretty face," he sneered, leaning against the locker beside hers. His voice was smooth, mocking, and loud enough for others to hear. "You've been ignoring us all day? That's not very polite." Ryan and Cole appeared behind her, closing in like shadows. Ryan snatched her notebook right out of her hands and flipped it open. "What's this? Notes? Maybe love letters? Who's the lucky guy?" He waved it over her head as Cole chuckled. Cole smirked, tilting his head. "Maybe she wants to write one to us. Can't blame her. We're the hottest guys here." The crowd noticed. Students slowed down, whispering, but no one stepped forward. That was the power of Jake and his gang. They ruled through fear. Elena felt the wall of lockers press against her back. 3 boys towered over her. Anyone else in her shoes might have panicked, begged, tried to run. That's exactly what they expected her to do. But Elena didn't panic. Her father's voice echoed in her mind. "Fear is a weapon. If you let them see yours, they've already won." So instead of shrinking back, she lifted her chin. Her steady eyes locked on Jake's, and her silence unsettled him more than any scream could have. Jake scowled, frustrated. He grabbed her arm roughly. "You're coming with us. Let's see how tough you are outside." His grip tightened, expecting her to wince, expecting her to cry out. But she didn't. Around them, whispers grew louder. Students exchanged nervous glances, but no one intervened. Everyone assumed the same thing, that Elena was finished. Only she knew the truth. This wasn't a trap for her. This was a trap for them. Jake's fingers dug into her wrist, but Elena didn't so much as flinch. Instead, she drew in a calm breath, her eyes steady and sharp. "Let go. Now," she said softly. The command in her voice caught them off guard. For a split second, Ryan and Cole glanced at Jake, unsure if they had just heard fear or warning. Jake scoffed. Or what? His laughter was short and cruel. But before he could blink, Elena moved. She twisted her arm free with a fluid snap and caught Jake's wrist in her hand. In one controlled motion, she bent it backward. Jake yelped, his face twisting in pain as his knees buckled slightly. Ryan's eyes widened. What the? Before he could finish, Elena pivoted, using Jake's own momentum to shove him aside. Then, with precise timing, she slammed her shoulder into Ryan's chest, sending him stumbling back against the lockers. The loud clang echoed down the hall. Cole lunged at her, fist raised. But Elena was already moving. She dropped low, sweeping her leg in a perfect arc. Cole's feet left the ground, and he crashed onto his back with a grunt. It all happened in seconds. The three toughest bullies in school were now groaning on the floor, clutching their arms and ribs, staring up at the girl they thought was helpless. Gasps rippled through the hallway. Students froze mid-step, mouths open, phones raised. Dozens of cameras clicked to life, recording every second of the fight that no one would ever forget. Elena didn't smile. She didn't gloat. She simply straightened her books, her breathing steady, just as her father had trained her. The silence in the hallway was deafening. For the first time, the bullies weren't in control. Jake stumbled to his feet, clutching his wrist with wide, terrified eyes. His voice cracked. What are you? Elena's gaze didn't waver. I'm someone who doesn't tolerate bullies. Ryan leaned against the lockers, his chest heaving. No way, no girl fights like that. Cole, still on the floor, shook his head, muttering, she's not normal. She can't be. The crowd whispered, phones still recording. Some students were cheering quietly, others gasping in disbelief. The bullies who once ruled the hall were now exposed. Elena took a slow breath. She didn't want rumors to twist the truth. So she spoke clearly, her voice calm but firm. My father is a soldier, she said. He trained me all my life. While you were busy trying to look tough, I was learning how to defend myself, to survive, to fight if I have to. Her words cut through the air like steel. Jake's smirk was gone. His face was pale, his pride shattered. For years, he had thrived on fear, feeding on the silence of others. But now, he was the one who was afraid. Teachers rushed over, voices sharp, demanding explanations. But they didn't need many. Dozens of students pointed at Jake, Ryan, and Cole. And the videos, already spreading through the school like wildfire, told the truth in perfect detail. For the first time in years, Jake and his gang weren't feared. They were humiliated. And Elena? She wasn't just the beautiful new girl anymore. She was the girl who stood up. The fallout was swift. The principal called Jake, Ryan, and Cole into his office. Their excuses crumbled under the weight of evidence, videos, witnesses, even the bruises on their own bodies. They were suspended immediately, punished for harassment and violence. Elena, however, wasn't punished. She was questioned, yes, but the truth was clear. She had defended herself. When her father picked her up after school, he noticed the small scratches on her arms, the calm look in her eyes. Rough first day, he asked lightly. Elena nodded. I remembered your lessons, Dad. His proud smile said everything. The next day, whispers followed Elena through the halls again, but they were different now. Students no longer whispered about her beauty. They whispered about her strength. Some approached her with respect, some with curiosity, but no one dared cross her. As for Jake, Ryan, and Cole, their reign was over. They walked the halls with heads low, unable to escape the shame of their defeat. Every time they caught sight of Elena, they remembered the moment they learned the truth. She was untouchable. But Elena didn't use her victory to boast. She didn't become arrogant. She didn't seek revenge. All she wanted was peace. And that was the greatest lesson of all. Sometimes, the quietest person in the room is the most powerful. Sometimes, the most beautiful girl is also the most dangerous. And the bullies would never forget it.